Welcome to Menopause Monday. Today we're flipping the script on menopause weight gain. If you're feeling like your body's betraying you or you feel that the scale has got it in for you, just know it's not your fault. Weight gain in menopause is actually quite normal and it is your body giving you feedback. It is not you failing. Sometimes we just need to stop following the old rules. What happens is as your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone start to decline as you go through perimenopause into postmenopause, there are several things happening. Essentially, your stress hormones do tend to rise as our sex hormones fall, as estrogen falls, cortisol rises. When cortisol rises, that makes our insulin rise. So, what happens is we have a reduced sensitivity to insulin. Insulin is our fat storing hormone. You'll find also that you might be feeling more sluggish. That can be down to poor sleep. It can be down to the fact that you're doing stuff that used to work and no longer does. It's also getting to the stage where, we actually need to be allowing ourselves to rest when we need to. We've got so good at just doing things like we're robots, and we berate ourselves when we don't get the to-do list done. We feel as though we're underperforming, we're underproductive, we might be struggling with brain fog, which can make that even worse. If we can manage our stress hormones, that has a huge impact on everything else. On top of that, you'll find that your muscle mass is starting to decline more quickly. Again, that's part of the aging process, but it doesn't mean to say that you have to settle for that. But it does mean that if you're loving your cardio, you really need to be reducing the cardio and replacing that with more strength training. If you're doing nothing right now, then start to incorporate a couple of strength training sessions a week, whether that's down at the gym, if you've got a PT, if you follow a program like I do, I stream my workouts. So make sure that you're doing something that involves weight of some sort. That can be body weight. I think body weight works really, really well, particularly if you're newer to it. In actual fact, there are some really great body work programs that you can do that include no dumbbells or straps or loops or anything. But find what works best for you. There are all sorts of ways of adding more resistance, whether it's through loops or bands or dumbbells or barbells at the gym or kettlebells, however you want to do it. But do make sure that you start to incorporate some strength training, because what that will do is it boosts your metabolism. It helps boost your sense of self-esteem as well, because you'll start to hold yourself more confidently. Your internal systems work better, your digestion works better, your detoxification system works better, you're breathing more functionally, your heart rate is benefiting from doing strength training. It's good for your gut health. Your muscles, when you're building your muscles and your muscles are contracting, they actually suck out glucose directly from the bloodstream. So if you're pre-diabetic or you're diabetic too, strength training is going to be one of the easiest things you can do to improve your sensitivity to insulin. And of course, the more muscle mass we have, that's going to fire up your metabolism and it's going to help you burn more calories. So you are it is more easy to gain weight as you go through the menopause, particularly around the middle, with that cortisol link and the insulin link. We tend to deposit fat, particularly around the middle, which is the inflammatory fat. That's the visceral fat that goes around your organs, metabolically active, which then can increase inflammation. And the more inflammation we have in the body, the more response we have to it and the greater the weight gain, particularly around the middle. So just be mindful of that. It's not about the fact that you're failing, it's just the fact that the rules have shifted slightly and you understanding what you need to do in order to achieve successful long-term weight management. Also, just know that the more muscle that you create, you're not going to get bulky, by the way. You haven't got enough testosterone in your body. A lot of women are worried about getting bulky. You won't. You're actually going to have to work really hard if you want to get anywhere near sort of muscular looking, because of the fact that the increased cortisol in your body is already nibbling away at that muscular tissue. And like I said earlier, muscle mass declines more and more quickly the older we get, and you really do need to start focusing on building that muscle up as soon as you can do. When you're building strong muscles, you're also making your bones stronger. So you've probably heard of osteoporosis. That is a major concern as we go through the menopause and beyond. When you're strength training, you're reinforcing those bones because the muscles, the tendons are pulling on the bones, which naturally makes the bones stronger. So strength training, as well as sucking glucose out of the bloodstream, as well as improving your gut health and your mental health, boosting your metabolism, making it more easy to lose fat and maintain a healthy weight. It's also strengthening your bones. So rather than seeing weight gain as something to be shameful of, see it just as data. It's just feedback. If you're going through a really stressful period of your life, you're likely to gain weight. I've been going through quite a stressful time quite a while now, and I've definitely gained weight around my middle. I'm not worrying about it. It'll come off once things settle down again. But it is just one of those things that if you're under a lot of stress, particularly around the middle, you're likely to gain weight around the middle. It is inflammatory. It's really important that you understand that. The adipose tissue, so the fat underneath your skin, wherever, if you're sort of fat all over, the adipose fat under your skin is not inflammatory, it's not metabolically active, but it does act like a sponge, so it does hang on to hormones, which is why if you're overweight, you have a greater risk of developing certain cancers. So, while it's not metabolically active, you definitely don't want to be on the fatter side of healthy because it has so many implications. And the older you get, the harder it's going to be to bring that back. So, you've got a sort of healthy window of wiggle room, and you might be sort of 5 to 10 pounds lighter or heavier either way. But once you're out of that healthy window, you do need to make significant change to get yourself back. If you're eating all the rubbish and eating a lot of sugar, no matter how relaxed you might be, you're going to be fat. You're going to be putting weight on because that food is nutritionally deficient, and that in and of itself is going to create stress in the body. So while you might like the flavor of it, wean yourself off it, your taste buds will soon change and you'll start to feel so much better in yourself as well. Everything will improve. Your skin health will improve, your energy will improve, you'll smell healthier. When you're putting toxins into your body, it's natural that the body is not going to be optimally functioning. And so do focus on eating good food, healthy food, vegetables, fruits. We need vegetables and fruits. There's nothing wrong with either of those. We need to often eat more vegetables than we are doing. Lean protein, ideally aim for that at every single meal time. You'll probably struggle to eat the amount of protein that you ideally should be eating. As a guide, aim for your ideal weight in pounds, and you want to eat the same sort of amount in grams of lean protein. So for instance, if you want to weigh 140 pounds, you want to aim to eat 140 grams of lean protein daily, and make sure that you're having protein earlier in the day as well. You might have found that intermittent fasting used to work for you and it no longer does, or it may not be as effective as it was. It used to work really well for me too, but intermittent fasting can have a negative impact on your cortisol levels. A woman's body, actually, we need to eat earlier in the day, even if you don't like eating earlier in the morning. I have to force myself to eat first thing in the morning, and that's when I have my Greek yogurt, full fat Greek yogurt with berries and a few oats and some ground up linseed. And that provides a healthy start. It gets my metabolism going and also gives me protein that I need. But we do need to be on the ball if we want to maintain a healthy weight. Starvation, well, yes, of course, if you starve yourself, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose your muscle mass weight. Reducing your calories or restricting your calories is not a good way to go. You need to eat in order to maintain a healthy weight, and just eat the right stuff and drink plenty of water. A lot of us don't drink enough water either. The juices out of the cartons, they're full of sugar. You might as well just drink a Coke. You definitely want to be drinking more water. If you don't like water, try flavoring it with herbs or spices or fruits or something like that. If not, just neck it. We do need to drink more water than we are doing. Sodas are really bad for us. They leach calcium out of your body. That's going to increase your risk of osteoporosis. And I have people that say to me, I eat all the healthy stuff. And I say, well, what do you drink? She's like, oh, I have soda in the morning and I have a soda in the afternoon. And I'm not talking about carbonated water. I'm talking about the soda drinks. And those are often very high in high fructose corn syrup and other artificial sweeteners and things, which are really bad for your gut health. And they do leach. Basically, you end up peeing out your calcium. So you're on the detrimental impact they're having on your bone health is huge, as well as your waistline. So ditch the sodas and just allow your taste buds to change so that you can then start to enjoy water. And it might be that you live somewhere where the water isn't very nice. Either buy a filter for your tap. You can buy those filter jugs. They don't cost an awful lot of money, and filter your water that way. You could buy bottled water. There's a lot of information out there at the moment about water in plastic bottles not being good for you. So I don't know if you have the option to buy glass in glass bottles. It's probably a bit expensive, and it's probably prohibitively expensive. So it might be the better option is buying one of those sort of Brita water filters that you can keep on your countertop in your kitchen and drinking water from that. It does make the water taste a lot nicer if you're in an area where the water isn't so good. Sleep is huge. Sleep is when we regulate our body and we heal our body. And while sleep can be harder to get when you're perimenopausal and your hormones are all over the shop, try and get to bed earlier if you can, because at least then you're in bed for a longer period of time. So if your sleep is erratic and broken, by just being in bed for longer, you're resting and recharging for longer. And it does give you a better opportunity to get more hours of rest than otherwise. Gut health is huge. Try and incorporate fermented foods if you can do. Things like kombucha, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir. There's all sorts of different fermentation ways that you can really enhance the nutritional value of your food. At home here, I make kombucha, I make sauerkraut, I make my own apple cider vinegar, and I bake my own sourdough. Sourdough, a lot of people say it's one of the healthiest breads to eat, but to be quite honest, by the time you baked it, the fermentation benefits have gone because the bacteria will die off in the baking process. However, it is, it's got no artificial stuff in it, and it probably is a healthier bread to eat than a lot of the breads that you would buy in the shop. And even sourdough that you buy in the shop, often they use yeast in it. So and they'll have artificial stuff in it too. So you're better off to bake your own if you can do, or use a bread maker and just, bake your own conventional bread. At least, again, you don't need to put sugar in it. You don't need the milk powder that they often say in the recipe. You can do it with just the butter or the oil, the flour, the water, and the salt, and it makes a delicious loaf. And important to understand that you're not here to hustle like you did in your 20s and 30s. It's a bit like trying to use your old house keys in a new house. It's not going to open the door. And we have to have a mindset shift about how our life looks now, and just make a few changes. Reduce the cardio, increase the strength training, prioritize rest and recuperation. But be active too, get out and do walks in nature, focus on your mental health, allow yourself to sleep as much as you can during the evening hours, or whenever you get your sleep, and don't allow yourself to get into that trap also thinking, oh, I'm so tired and I know I need to rest more, so I'm just going to watch another hour of television. That's kind of unproductive time. If you need to still rest, then maybe put some gentle music on in the background, or try and meditate or journal. Do something that is actually going to enhance your psyche and your energy rather than just drain it. And I'm not talking about throwing away the television. Yeah, I enjoy an hour of television in the evening, most evenings, but then that's it. And if I'm tired, I won't even bother. I will go and lie in bed, and sometimes I'll listen to an audio book. And if I've listened to 5 minutes before I go to sleep, I'm lucky. But it just means then that if you still lie there for half an hour and you're still listening to the book, great. But because you can use a timer on your Audible app, it means that it's not going to keep going on and on and on and on throughout the course of the night, but it does give you a chance to listen to it and often drift off before it actually turns itself off. But that way you're sort of listening, maybe learning a little bit if it's a non-fiction book, but you're also relaxing in bed with your eyes closed, and it's just allowing the sensory overload from the day to be significantly reduced. So for things that you can do this next week, just become aware of how your body's feeling. How are you feeling in your brain? Are you feeling frazzled? Are you feeling frustrated? Do you feel like you're being pushed and pulled all the time? And if that's the case, those are signals, that's feedback that you need to listen to and start to think, okay, well, What can you change? You might be in a situation where it is just crazy at the moment, and we have those stages in our lives, and it's, you have to buckle through that, but know that there will be an end date to that, and once the end date arrives, that's when you can really start to focus on your own self-care, start your strength training, really prioritize the healthy habits that I've suggested today. Get your strength training started, eat more protein, drink more water, eat your vegetables, speak kindly to yourself, beware of your inner critic. I have a really loud inner critic, partly because I'm really frazzled at the moment, and so my tolerance level is absolutely right down. But I know that, and so I've seen that as a sign, and that for me is just like it's a huge red flag saying you have got to back off a bit, and I do. I know I need to. I'm backing off literally in a few days from it because the frazzle is real. I think also understand that we go through these stages in our lives, and sometimes there is no wiggle room. We're full on, but try and keep those times to a really limited, focused session if you can do, so that you have that light at the end of the tunnel, so you know that at some point in the nearish future you're able to take that time to rest and relax and renew yourself, because that is so important. And when you're in that stage, really go for it. The strength training, the food, the drink, the being aware of your inner critic, maybe trying to meditate if you don't meditate already. To be honest, personally, meditation of me, they're bad bed partners. I'm just not the sort of meditation type, but hours out in nature, definitely. And that for me is my meditation. So you have to find what works best for you, but do it because your life depends on it. And stress in your life, postmenopausal, is going to make you gain weight. So if you can focus on stress reduction in every aspect, so nutritional, deadlines at work, lack of sleep, etc., all of those are stressors. Focus on bringing them all down, become really aware of what's going on in your body, how you're feeling internally and externally. And when you feel like, yeah, I'm actually, I feel like I'm at the helm now. I feel like I'm actually directing my life where it wants to go. That's a brilliant position to be in. It's not about failing, it's about learning a new language, treating your body slightly differently to how you used to do, and also knowing that there is so much that you can do, that weight gain is not something that you have to accept in midlife. I highly encourage you not to suddenly accept it. You might think, oh, well, I'm just going to take those weight loss drugs, because I know so many people are. Do your research. Absolutely do your research, because there are young people that have been on it who've now got osteoporosis after just being on it for a year. It will eat away at your muscle mass. So you will lose weight, you might lose some fat too, but it burns through your muscle mass. And if you read the back of the packet, they all say you have to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Well, the vast majority of people are having to take the weight loss drug because they have not even started that healthy lifestyle. So really be mindful if you're deciding to do it for a quick fix. I've heard I've done quite a lot of research on it, and they say, well, you can be on it for life. It'd be really interesting to see what the long-term evidence is on this. And yes, you can lose weight fairly fast, but you're not necessarily burning through your fat, you're burning through your muscle mass. So if you decided to come off it one day, or you have to come off it for whatever reason, you are going to pile the weight back on, or highly likely that you're going to pile the weight back on, because you've lost your muscle mass. And your muscle is what helps you burn those calories. It's what helps you keep your metabolism boosted. Muscle is far more important than just looking, toned. So just be really mindful of those weight loss drugs. Do your research before you go for it, if that's something that you're thinking of doing. So I hope this has been helpful. Just know that your body's changing, and we just need a few different rules in order to create the life that we want and to live in the body that we desire to live in. And it's not impossible. It's actually quite easy. It's actually quite pleasurable, because when you get into the swing of your weight training, you get into the swing of eating regular protein, and you realize that you can actually eat more than you think you're able to, because actually to build lean muscle mass, you need to be eating regularly. it's amazing the amount that you ought to be eating. But because it's nutritional, it's not high in the ultra processed fats. Healthy fat is good for us. We need it. Cholesterol is a precursor for all of our hormones, our sex hormones in our body. We need fat. So don't go low fat, but maybe if you're eating a huge amount of fat, reduce that amount of fat that you're getting, but do not cut out your fat, cut out your sugars, and cut out your cakes, your biscuits, that sort of thing. And you will notice a remarkable difference, and your sodas, in your weight and how you feel, your energy levels, your mental health will improve, and you'll have that level of energy that no matter what the day throws at you, you're going to get through it. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for your company. If there's anything you'd like me to include in a future episode, just drop it in the comments below. Send me an email on katehartleyuk@gmail.com, or I'll drop the link to my Substack community in the description. Come and join me on there if you'd like to. I dive into all this and more over there, and it's an opportunity for us to get to know each other a little bit closer as well. So chat to you soon and have a great week.